Today, we're looking at an orange ink by PensBBS, their number 138. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, it would really help me out for you to check out this entire video. Also, down in the description, there's a link to the orange playlist, so if you like orange inks, you can check that out. Welcome back. I'm an ink guy. Our first three writing samples are always done on the same papers, Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Let's take a look at the first one, 90 GSM, Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen. It does offer some shading. If you look here, it gets a bit lighter at the S's, darker at the A, lighter at the R, darker at the T. The extra fine is lighter than the stub. With no feather spread, halo sheen, it shades very well. Quick goes dark to light to dark. Brown goes dark to light. Over goes light to dark. 10 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, a very nice shading. Brown going dark to light. Quick going dark to light to dark. Over going light to dark. 14 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both don't show much color variation, but it's coming through very nicely in the writing. And a smear test, you could probably recover it if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then an Aurora Optima with a broad nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. Now, let's take a look at the second standard paper, 52 GSM, Tomoe River. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 16 seconds to dry. Medium looks just a little bit lighter than the extra fine. With no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 21 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both don't show much color variation. We really don't get much. And a smear test, you probably could not recover it if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down and then it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that this really does run away from the water. It pushes up and we see all of that orange up there, but across the very top we see a little bit of yellow. Not dissimilar to the little bit of yellow staining on kind of the ink line down at the bottom. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes before it dunks in the water. And you see the orange is moving slower up the paper, but it is largely still moving. Some of the orange is set in on that line, and there is still hints of that yellow all the way across the top of this chromatography. The last standard paper is 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, some nice shading. Over goes lighter to darker. Quick goes dark to mid-tone to dark. Brown goes dark to light. 12 seconds to dry. Medium is lighter than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, decent shading as Fox goes light to dark. Lazy goes dark to light, and the is a very dark word. 16 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both do show some color variation. It's better in the writing. And a smear test, you could definitely recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it performed fairly well. It did spread, but it spread rather uniformly, and it's very easy to read and recover what's there. I would feel safe using it in a note-taking situation, which is surprising looking at water, which is largely reactivating and lifting it off the paper. On the bottom part of the circle, you see some of the white of the paper coming through. It did only take water to get it out of my pen. Pen flush does everything that water does and nothing more, but you're not going to need it. And speaking of not going to need, that 1/3 bleach solution completely obliterates it. For the next 3 writing samples, we change up the paper all the time to expand some of the experiences with different papers. This next paper is Apica CD Notebooks. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, shades very nicely. Quick goes darker to lighter to darker. Brown goes dark to light. Fox goes light to dark. Over light to dark. Nice. 6 seconds to dry. Medium is just a little bit lighter than the extra fine. With no feather spread, halo sheen, a very nice shading as quick goes dark to light to dark. Brown does the dark to light. Fox starts light to get dark, but the bottom hoop of the F darker than the rest of the F. 9 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show color variation, and we get plenty. And the smear test, you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. PensBBS number 138 has a viscosity of 2.14, making it normal. If you're interested in how the viscosity is tested or the bell curve and all that stuff, there's a link to that video down in the description. Now, let's take a look at black and red paper. We have no bleeding and no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, not bad shading. Quick goes darker to lighter to darker. The goes light to dark. Over goes light to dark. 5 seconds to dry. Medium is a little bit lighter than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, a very nice shading as brown goes dark to light. Over goes light to dark. The is very dark, especially under the word brown. 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show some good color variation because we get it. The smear test, there is a very strong possibility that you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. PensBBS number 138 has an average dry time of 15 seconds, making it, you guessed it, normal. The last writing sample is done on Franklin Christoph paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, moments of shading throughout, like the K in quick is much darker. The T in the much lighter. It's just a much more absorbent paper. 4 seconds to dry. Medium is lighter than the extra fine. With no feather spread, halo sheen, it does shade. Like brown goes darker to lighter. Quick goes dark to light to dark. Fox goes dark to light to dark. 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show some good color variation because we get it. And the smear test, you could recover this if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like PensBBS number 138, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. And I wanted to go with something that was not going to draw attention from this very nice orange. I chose a Blue-Black by Aurora called Blue-Black. If you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to all of those color playlists. So what do I think of PensBBS number 138? There isn't a lot of shading most of the time, but it is there, and when it's there, it is very nice. A lot of color variation in general from nib to nib. In the darker tones, it can be a very red leaning, and it pulls it off nicely. Not bad as a color, but not my favorite as an orange goes. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience with this ink? A medium flow, medium, or broad really put down a nice tone and help accentuate the shading that this ink has. I hope you got something out of this video, and tomorrow we're going to take a look at Pelikan Edelstein's Tanzanite.